Hello Cherries fans and welcome to the second look this Monday here on Back of the Net. It's myself, Sam Davis. I've got Tom Jordan with me as well, and also the return of Neil Dawson.
It is. My agent wanted you to get to 7,000 subscribers, then said I could come back, see.
I'm so glad we got there, mate. So glad we got there.
In the words of Emma Bunton, what took you so long? Where have you been? How have you been? Anyway?
I know, I've been great. Yeah. No, had a good summer. Great weather. Football season started, not so great, but I'm sure it'll pick up.
We always said the journey's better than the destination, the journey of getting there. And in hindsight, looking back at the Championship season, it was very good when you think about it, because you woke up every morning and you could expect something, and you had hope. Whereas now, playing Man City away, Arsenal, Liverpool.
I think we knew the fixtures though, didn't we? We knew the way the fixtures looked, and it was always going to be difficult. So, as Neil said, we'll see. It'll pick up, I would have thought. But yeah, as you say, mate, last season was enjoyable. We knew this was going to be tough. So let's just see how it pans out. But yeah, it's been a difficult start, hasn't it?
Yeah. And obviously the first game of the season went all right, didn't it?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah. So I think we knew with the fixtures that we had coming up, I think we had to get something at Villa. We had to get something against Villa. And I think a lot of fans would probably have taken a draw in that game. So I was expecting maybe 1 point from the first 4 games. So 3 points was probably about as much from a points total as we could have expected, I think. So that's probably what we'll end up getting.
Yeah, I think with every ball that's kicked now, I think, God, that Villa win looks so good now. Thank God we got that win against Villa. So yeah, as Neil said, I probably would have taken a point before the game just so we didn't lose it, because we looked at the other fixtures. But that's going to be a massive win, isn't it? You know, the more the games go on, you think, thank God we beat Villa. And it'll feel the same in that Wolves game, won't it? That it's crucial we get something.
Because we're not like Everton now, or those teams that are like looking at 1 point, or West Ham 0 point. You know, you're looking up, think where that first win's going to come from. I think psychologically, Eddie Howe always said that in our first season, that West Ham game was massive, wasn't it? Because you got to get three points. So, I mean, I think Scott Parker would be delighted he got that.
You look at that first 4, by the way. You're thinking City, Arsenal, and obviously Liverpool to come. And there could be quite a few teams below us still. And you think of them fixtures, everyone would expect us to be rock bottom. We could not be in that bottom 3 after them games just because of that one win. I think, is it West Ham on 0, aren't they? I think obviously we'll see what happens like with other teams, but like United, Leicester, there's quite a few teams that are still less points than us. So.
And United will be on 0 after Monday probably as well.
Exactly, after tonight,
But it's quite interesting because at the start of the season we saw the fixture list, we saw Villa. I think that it sort of put a lot of pressure on the Villa game based on the subsequent 3 fixtures, and I was as good as writing those off. But even though we have it's gone to form so far, I'm noticing on the forums and on Twitter and stuff, there's still criticisms and there's still these comments about how poor we are.
Yeah.
Is that still to be expected, even though we're
I
schooled?
think it's not because of the results. I think it's because of the way that we've set up. So I think most fans just want you to have a go, and I don't think anyone would be critical if you go and have a go at Man City and you lose 5-1 like we used to with Eddie. I think it's more that. I think that we literally haven't tried to lay a glove on either Man City or Arsenal yesterday in the sort of lineups that the Arsenal lineup yesterday. When I saw it, I just thought that is a team that is just a whole structure of fear, really. Yeah. I think that's what's frustrating the fans, not the results. I don't think. I expected us to have 1 point after the first 4 games. 3 would have been a massive bonus. Points total is on par with where we want to be. It's the nature of how we're setting up, I think.
Do you think, I've asked a few people this over the weekend, I've asked Bournemouth fans, I've asked Arsenal fans as well on the vlog and on various bits and pieces, but do you feel as though they have turned a corner this season, Arsenal?
Arsenal,
yeah,
they're a completely different side to what we played in our previous years against them.
They haven't got that soft centre anymore, have they?
I always used to think we had a chance against Arsenal, and I think we beat them once, then we drew 3-3 with them. Yeah. There was a couple of times up there where I think it was 1-0, and if we took a chance, we would have been in it. They didn't have that fear factor that the others had, and I think now they probably have, which is good for them.
Yeah, they're definitely more solid defensively as well. You used to always feel like you could get at them, couldn't you? If you think, if you get an early goal, rough them up, the fans got on their back. But yeah, they do look different. But yeah, as Neil said, I think it is we probably got more points than we expected because of that Villa game. But it is the manner of it. I think we've gone in both games and kind of just gone, well, they're going to beat us. And I think if you're going to set up that way, I was saying to Neil off air, then you've got to be bloody resilient and blimmin' good defensively. And we're not, so what's the point is how it feels. Because we're 2-0 down after 10 minutes, so we're obviously not good enough to play that way. So we might as well have a crack. I mean, we just see Newcastle, won't we, draw 3-3 with City. But if they had lost that game 4-3, everyone would have gone, we expect to lose anyway. I'm glad we had a crack. And we haven't done that. And I think that's why you're getting murmurings, but not the results.
Yeah. The formation's obviously changed since the end of last season, going 3 at the back. What's your thoughts on that? Because in my mind, I thought that continuity might be key. Playing to a way that we know can get results. I don't think it was that free-flowing football that we had under Eddie, but it was purposeful football and it worked ultimately. But 3 at the back, new things to learn for everyone. I wasn't sure.
Well, I think he did exactly the same thing with Fulham. He went up playing 4 at the back and changed to 5 at the back. I think he clearly sees the Premier League as a tough task and wants to build from a solid base. There's nothing wrong with 3 at the back. I mean, if it's played the correct way with fullbacks high up the pitch, it's a really attacking formation. Yeah. So it's wrong to say it's a negative formation, but we don't play it like that. So yesterday we had a complete flat back 5, and with 2 defensive midfielders in front, it literally meant that the 7 players back, and you could see when we got the ball, it was like Kiefer Moore was trying to run down a channel. It doesn't help not having Solanke, but no, I think we had some great things last year with that relationship between Anthony and Zamora, and that's gone now. So it's almost like we've sacrificed those things to have 3 centre halves at a time when we had no centre halves. So Cahill retired, Phillips gone back to Liverpool. He only really trusted Kelly. Yeah, true. Why would you change your system with 3 centre backs when you've only got one you like? Just seems really mad to me.
Yeah, I think that was the strange thing. Is like you say, we're not. I mean, have we played with different 3 centre halves virtually every game already? I think Lerma and Mepham kind of switched roles, didn't they, in one game? But so yeah, there's no and then obviously Senesi's come in. But yeah, to add an extra centre half when that's the position that we're really lacking was a bit odd. But as Neil said, I think it's not a system. I don't go, well, we should never play that system. But we probably haven't got the players yet, and Scott will obviously hope we eventually will. Don't think we've got the right personnel to do it at the moment, or we're not implementing it in the right way at the moment. And as Neil said, I think Pearson and Lerma both sat in front yesterday, just meant that there was it was so deep that it was really, really tough to get, particularly up the pitch for Kiefer Moore, just on his own.
Kiefer Moore at one stage was, I don't know if you saw him, he was trying to go like that because he literally was like, someone's got to get vaguely close to me. I think it was supposed to be Philip Billings' job, but he had one of his lazier games. Philip Billings, I think you get 1 lazy game in 3, don't you? And he had that yesterday. Whether it might be being unfair to him, he might not be lazy. He just might not be quite clued with what's going on. But he didn't get close. I don't know what he did really. But
I think his style makes him look lazier than what he is.
Yeah. He's not lazy.
He just strides about.
There's certain games where everyone says that, and then you look back on little stat things, you think, oh, we actually covered quite a lot of ground. Like you don't realise, but
from an impact point of view.
Yeah,
I think low.
I remember the City game where obviously he was left out. And I remember saying, if we're going to play Kiefer Moore and we're going to play that way, we've got to get Billing on and tell him, get on the knockdowns, get on the second balls. So when I saw that, I was actually quite pleased. I thought, Billing will get closer to Kiefer. But he just didn't. And I don't know, as Neil said, I don't know if that's because he's not quite sure of his role there yet, maybe. But yeah, he didn't have a good game, did he?
No. We'll get into the nuts and the bolts of the game at the weekend. But firstly, just want to say we're at the Goods Yard in Broadstone. If you've not been here before, it's a great pub. It's not going to be around for too much longer. So make sure you pay this place a visit. It closes on September the 4th, but on the 3rd, is on the Saturday night. They've got a great band playing, so make sure you head on down here for a beer and make sure you see this place off in style. It's just opposite Broadstone Sports Centre where we're about to be playing football very, very soon, Tom. Hopefully we can do a little bit better than the Bournemouth players did on Saturday, eh?
No dramas, mate, no dramas. I'll run around. Oh, and I'm in goal, aren't I? I'm in goal tonight. You'll have to do the bits for me, mate.
I'll try. So, look, the team then yesterday, Senesi came in, not quite his debut, but his full debut. And he was at the back of the 3. Also, I suppose the other only contentious position was who was going to partner Jefferson Lerma in midfield. He went with Ben Pearson, and then obviously Dom Solanke still got a knock or whatever it is, so Kiefer Moore in. We heard rumours that Solanke was out for a lot longer than what he was, according to in the press conference on Friday, seemed to indicate that he will be back soon. But
I think Scott's just said that he's hoping he'll be available for Liverpool, so hopefully. But yeah, I think we kind of said, apart from the Solanke situation, I think we said in the preview, didn't we? I felt that Lerma would move up and Senesi would get his game. his start, but I thought he'd go with Lewis because I just felt that Pearson and Lerma, as we kind of alluded to, might be too much of a defensive double pivot. He went with Pirlo, but he only made the half time anyway, didn't he? And then he brought Lewis on, who I actually thought had a decent cameo second half. He tried to get us up the pitch, didn't he?
He played like a man that wants to get back in the team.
Definitely.
So I think you look at it now and think if he doesn't play him in the next game, there's nothing more Lewis Cook could have done, because he came on, grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. He was the only player that I thought looked technically as able as the Arsenal players on our side. So,
Pearson, he had a great game in the first game of the season against Villa, so you can maybe understand why he went with him again. But I was about to ask Neil, in terms of like Kiefer Moore being up top instead of Dom Solanke, how much do you reckon that changes the team talk that Scott makes, and like tactically? Do you think it's very different? Because he is a different type of player, isn't he?
yeah, I don't know if it's so much the talk. I just think it's the way that we can play, because Solanke will run a channel and he'll drag the whole team up the pitch. So the problem we had yesterday. So I thought yesterday surely he would have gone with Anthony or Dembele or someone that we could play down a channel like Newcastle did with St Maximin this afternoon. It just, because literally it takes the whole team up the pitch. So Arsenal aren't going to score from within their own half. No. And that's the bit that I just think, without that outlet, you are literally saying we're going to let Arsenal have the ball in our half for 90 minutes and let's hope that we can keep them out. Yeah. And when you've got Gabriel Jesus and players like that, you're not going to keep them out. So I was really surprised at that, because Kiefer Moore plays facing backwards and then he comes into his own when the ball comes into the box. And that is, he's very, very good at it. He's probably been one of our best players this year. There's no criticism of him. But it's not, he can't play that lone front role.
No. I feel like I almost feel like, is he wanting Marcus Tavernier to do that role? Because he's got legs, hasn't he? But he's too deep to impact
too deep
it.
yesterday.
And I don't know if that was a tactical thing, or maybe Marcus Tavernier wasn't quite. We don't know. But I felt he was set up with Tavernier too deep, because I think he could potentially do what you're saying and stretch him, because he's got the legs. But yeah, I think we're setting him up. He's a little bit restricted at the moment. I'd like to see him give a bit more of a licence.
We were talking after the game. Do you remember the season our first season, when we had a little spell where he didn't quite trust Josh King, who was new, and he played Glenn Murray on his own up front, and he did it for a few games. It was exactly the same as yesterday. We didn't get out our half. We went to Southampton. We were 2-0 down at half time. Glenn Murray and Eddie took him off, brought Josh King on, and we were all like, oh God, not Josh King, because he hadn't started for us very well. And he just did that. He dragged the whole team up the pitch. We still lost, but then he came into the team. Glenn Murray had a half, and then that was, then we won 4 in a row, I think, in November and December.
Yeah, that was when we had the Everton game, the United game, the Chelsea game,
And it was all about, Josh King wasn't as good a player at that time as Glenn Murray, but what he did do was he brought the whole team up the pitch. And that's what we're, at the moment, surely, if Solanke isn't going to be fit, he has to try, either sign someone or try Dembele or someone who's quick. He might not be the best player, like Josh King wasn't, but will get the team up the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We showed him a lot of respect, didn't we? I mean, it didn't help our start, but I don't know. It just that first 45 was terrible. I thought they had so much of the ball. In fact, we had more possession in the second half than we did the first half. Our stats are so much better, but first half, I mean, it didn't exactly start brilliantly. But yes, they are a class above. But I don't know. Sometimes I just feel as though we do show them a little bit too much respect, and that early goal, I've got a feeling is going to be so important. Who scores first is going to be.
We saw that in the Villa game, didn't we?
Yeah.
That it would have been interesting if Lerma hadn't have scored that goal in the Villa game, how the game would have panned out, because it's easier, because then you've got something to hold on to, and we were a pain in the arse to break down that day, and we'd had something to hang on to. And yeah, I think it was one of them things. Arsenal are really high on confidence at the moment as well, remember, and I think you saw that straight from the off. They're knocking it about, and we're very much scared and fearful of what happened the week before against City. It's easy to say in hindsight, isn't it? Kind of, why don't we just go toe to toe? So it might not have changed, and we don't actually know. I'd always prefer us to be a bit more like that. But yeah, it was a well worked goal, and they are a team on the up, mate. So yeah, maybe we did pay them a little bit too much respect, but they are a team playing some good stuff at the moment, and the only team that have won every game.
Yeah, and Senesi got found out a little bit with that first goal. I mean, the ball got played into Jesus, was it? And he sort of outmuscled Senesi, who came forward to meet him, but 2 touches and he was away, and Senesi was nowhere. And it felt like Gabriel Jesus took on about 5 players. I mean, the technical quality he had there, low centre of gravity, and just put that little through ball, and Senesi got found out. Welcome to the Premier League.
I felt, because it was interesting, because last week Scott Parker had said too much to throw him in against Haaland, which it's correct. But if you think about it, I mean, his nickname was a gladiator, wasn't he? So he's renowned for being able to deal with physical strikers, and So you think we don't play him against Haaland, but you think, well, we'll have a crack against Jesus, who's a very, very mobile, quick, sharp striker, and you've got to feel for him because no one wants to get hooked at half time on their debut, particularly when you're a flagship signing, do you? Yeah. So it's but it was a correct thing to do, and Mepham, hasn't really put a foot wrong this season, and I still would play Lerma at centre back because I think he was our best defender against Villa, Jefferson Lerma, and he was the best defender in the first half against Man City, I thought.
So, some people have been saying on the Vitals forum, I noticed that one person was saying that Scott's done the wrong thing. The team is unbalanced, or he said it's unprepared or unsettled. I think the word that was used because they chucked Senesi in. But when do you start him? I mean, why not with a match that is effectively a free hit?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think
start against Man City if you wanted.
Yeah, and I think most fans actually wanted to see him start, and I don't think anyone was surprised that he started the game. But I agree with what Neil said. What's ironic is that Núñez is suspended, and everyone's going, "Oh, Núñez suspended for the Liverpool." I'd rather him be up against a big striker. He's probably going to end up with like Salah in a false nine, and that's going to be a nightmare because he's going to be facing someone a bit more like Jesus. And I think he seems like the type of centre half that would rather a battle. And Lerma did that. Danny Ings didn't have a sniff. And Lerma, as much as City were brilliant, done really well on Haaland, didn't he?
Yeah. Because he's quick. He's quick and he reads the game well.
Reads the game well, I think. Yeah, very intelligent.
So I would be tempted while we're still settling down to keep him in there because I think he's better than Senesi currently, and I think he's better than Mepham currently. But and we have got enough midfielders. We could have played Lewis Cook and left Lerma in the back.
And Pearson can still kind of do that destroyer role, can't he?
Then Pearson could have been a destroyer role on his own, as opposed to having the two destroyers. But
it's fair to say the atmosphere at the Villa game helped the players along. But when you can see 2 early goals, I mean the second goal, again, Tom talk me through it briefly. It started on the right hand side, didn't it? And then Jesus pulled off slightly, and then Odegaard just. Yeah, left foot bang into the net. I mean, unfortunately, we go 1-0 down now, and I think that's it. Whereas
in these type of games,
I didn't.
Yeah, in these type of games, it's going to feel like that. Unfortunately, we got one more up against Liverpool, but yeah, it was a well worked goal, as you're saying. Jesus didn't even score on the day, but he did got disallowed. But he was just unplayable. I think probably the compliment to Arsenal, just talk about Arsenal, it was like Saka and Martinelli weren't 2 of their best players. And normally, Arsenal in previous years, I always felt like if some of their star players didn't have a good game, you could get them. They've got players everywhere. I thought Ben White at right back was brilliant, and Zinchenko at left on them, the 2 fullbacks. But
Odegaard and Zinchenko stood out to me. I just thought they were superb. And that's why maybe our midfield didn't look as sharp because they were just so good at keeping the ball, and that defensive shield of forgotten. Is it Partey? What's
Partey and Xhaka, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is Atletico Madrid, wasn't it? Yes. He was superb as well. So it was a tall order, but I just think you've got to get up the pitch against teams like that because otherwise they will just pick you off, and that's what they did. And
so, do you reckon this 4 at the back thing then is our plan B now? Do you think?
For these type of games, definitely.
Or, because he seems to have a couple of options. If Dom Solanke was fit, then he could put Kiefer Moore up top with him.
Yep.
On the Villa
game,
he
can go
kind
4 at the back. And
I
mean, the second half was so much better as a result of it, wasn't
it? It was. I think I said it on the fan cabs after. As much as I do think it was better, I think in the last 2 games, everyone said, second half was better. I go, yeah, the opposition have got the win. So, of course, you're going to be better because they don't have to do anything. But let's not take away, we were better, and I do prefer to the 4, but I think it probably, we ain't going to, against Liverpool, we're going to have a 5, in my opinion. I'd be shocked if we don't. But, eventually as the season goes on, maybe it'll just be for them bigger teams. I don't know. But he certainly, Neil said it earlier, he'd done the same with Fulham. He obviously looks at this at the Premier League, and when you've got a side that maybe on paper are going to always struggle, he obviously feels like it's the way to go. And equally, would I want, if he's been working on this with the players for ages, that we're going to go to this 5, I'd almost be worried if he just chucked it in the bin, because you kind of go, you even doubting yourself here. So, yeah, I don't know. But for these type of games, I think he's certainly going to go with this. But we did look better in the second half, as you say. We look a little bit more comfortable. I was really pleased to see Jalen get his Premier League debut, and he looked good. And as we said, I thought Lewis Cook looked good. And all the subs actually had come on made a positive impact, to be fair. Even later on, when Christian had come on, I thought they looked all right. And they're probably all going, I need to grab that shirt now. So.
But you're right, you do have to be careful, because we've had this in seasons gone by where you're in danger of whatever, when you go heavily down at half time against the top team, they just go into cruise mode because they are conserving themselves for Europe and all the other things that they've got to do, and all the top sides do it. So there's a danger that you then look at whatever you do in the second half and the players that come on look better because they're playing against a team that's relaxed and think, oh, that's the answer. So you got to be careful because you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But certainly all the players that came on played better than the ones that went off, and the formation worked because Zamora and Anthony were. And we only conceded the one goal.
Yeah,
with four at the back.
We tested them. We tested Ramsdale almost. Kiefer Moore's header.
That was going so far wide.
It was.
Was it one for the cameras? Wasn't it?
Because I think officially we only had one shot on target, which was Mepham's flick on header that Ramsdale
Really?
scored.
Oh right, yeah.
They said in the last 2 games we've had 2 shots on target, which are Ben Pearson and Chris Mepham.
Yeah.
Quite strange. But yeah, we tried to put a little bit on them, didn't we? At least.
Tavernier had a shot which at the near post. It went into the
He
side
should have done
post.
better with that.
He
I was
should
right
have.
behind that.
He
He
really
should have gone across goal with that.
And then that free kick was relatively close. That where Smith Rowe was the draft excluder, but I mean Arsenal, like you say, they could have had 4, but it's okay. It gets easier. Liverpool. Well, actually, we've got Norwich.
So
what's the deal there? How important is the Carabao Cup to Scott Parker now? How important is it to Norwich? It's almost a dead rubber, and it's a fixture that both teams don't really want.
I think it'll be exactly like he'll treat it the same way as Eddie Howe did, where it's a good chance to get the other 11 fit, match fit, have a look at some of them, maybe try a couple of things out. I'd imagine Norwich will probably treat it the same way they did last year, didn't they? They made quite a few changes. They just had better changes than us. It's like a role reversal. We've probably got a slightly better squad now. Both sides will play a reserve team. It's always I always like them when they're at home. They're fun to go along because it's always good to see Marcondes, isn't it? I love watching it. He'll score probably, but if he's going to still be around next week, who knows? But yes, it's nice to see some of the bit part players. Shame it's not at home.
I think it'll be interesting to see if we probably haven't got the personnel to do it at centre half, but I think most of the time you'd probably go, if you're Scott Parker, you'd go, I want to play the 5 at the back again against Norwich because I want to see what the fringe players are like in this system. But we haven't got enough centre halves, so I think he probably will go to a 4.
Probably have to.
Because I think he'll play Selesi and try and get more, and I think he'll play him with Hill as a centre half pairing, and then Fredericks could be back for left side potentially, and then Stacey, but. Nyland had a good debut there last year, didn't he? And now it'd be Neto, so he can't have as bad a debut as Nyland did. So
an ex-Barcelona keeper played in the
playing Carabao Cup.
Norwich away.
That's what he dreamed of as a kid.
Wait.
He drew when he was growing up was he Brazilian?
Yeah, Brazilian.
He was growing up in Rio de Janeiro. He thought one day I'll get to play in Carrow Road at the Carabao Cup.
So, but yeah, Liverpool after that then, and I mean, Neil, you've sort of sacked off the idea of going to away games that you just think there's no chance.
Yeah, I'm going to make myself sound like a plastic fan now.
But I don't blame you, especially in this.
You got to conserve your
climate.
money for where you think there's going to be a chance. And I've done too many years of driving, 400 miles, paying a couple of £100 to watch your team not have the ball, and I can't be bothered with it. So I'll go to Forest and I'll go to Wolves and Leicester and Southampton and teams like that, but I won't do Anfield because I find it too boring. I found the first half against Arsenal so boring. I like to just watch a football match that's fairly even. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'll do the home games, obviously.
Realistically, what are you hoping to get out of Liverpool? I mean, in an ideal world, 3 points, but like realistically, what are you hoping to see?
I hate going into games thinking that we can't realistically get anything, because we, of course, can. It's football, and you put one ball over the top, and Van Dijk pulls someone down, gets a straight red, and you've got 11v10, and you've got a chance. You don't know in football, but yeah, obviously I'm expecting a defeat. I'm probably expecting. I don't know if Liverpool at this moment in time will be. They're certainly not the same sort of team as City and Arsenal. No. And it might. I'd be frustrated if it's so much of a batter and a 4-5. I would like to think. Fulham, I know they're at home, but Fulham showed I would like to see us kind of go direct to Kiefer Moore and make him hang off kind of Trent on that side and get the knockdowns. And there's things you can do, but I think they'll obviously be too strong for us.
We're recording this before the Man United. A Man United win would be dreadful for us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, in a weird way.
Oh my God.
I don't know, because Liverpool have had a sticky start.
Yeah.
So another sticky start would demonstrate that it's a chance to get at them when they're at a weaker moment. Yeah. Whereas I think if they beat Man United convincingly, with City having dropped a point today, I think they'll want to cement things against us, and it's going to be a tough. I always think the Liverpool games are slightly less dull. So Man City just keep the ball and walk around like Barcelona. I think the beauty of going to Liverpool is they will attack at pace and they'll leave space behind. And
they're not about possession really as much, are they?
No, they're a far more entertaining team to watch.
But they will give you gaps, as you say. The fullbacks will go so far high,
but we haven't got any. We won't play a formation to exploit it.
Because the opening day, Mitrovic and they were getting on the knockdowns, Fulham. So we need to, as we've said in this video, we need someone to get the knockdowns off even more. But in the Palace game, they could not cope with Zaha's pace. On the break, they couldn't cope with it. But if we're not going to utilise players like Antony, Dembele, you're saying Tavernier higher up, then it's I'd like to think we'd have looked at them 2 games, or Scott would have, and as you say, we don't know what's going to happen in the Man U game, and at least learn from that and go, that's how you can get a Liverpool. And we might alter it a little bit, maybe, but obviously not expecting anything, though.
After the, before the Arsenal game on Saturday, so quite often, this is trade secret, I schedule tweets, because I always forget to tweet during game. I'm not one that, I don't usually look at my phone. Some people tweet during matches, I sort of forget to tweet, but so what I do is I schedule like a 5-word match report tweet to go out full time.
All right, good.
Only I scheduled it for 5 o'clock because I forgot it was 5:30 kickoff. So I got a lot of comments through saying the game's not started yet, Sam. So quickly, hastily deleting it. But look, I'll go through a few of the comments from after the Arsenal game after I rescheduled the tweet. Can't play that poorly again. Jesus raises Gunners another level. Need new players in now. A boring bag of piss, said Sean. 4-4-2 is better. Few shots would be nice. Oh, that was you, Tom. Tough reality and patience required. Wish I'd stayed at home, said Paul Kenwood. Second half so much better. Season really starts after Liverpool. Game over after 11 minutes. Billings' attitude stinks as usual. Parker stood still and did nothing. What a waste of time. It's a learning process. Also, 2 hours I'll never get back. Not as bad as Man City, and they look spineless and toothless. These are quite harsh criticisms for a team that, at this rate, could be challenging for top 2, Neil.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we said earlier. It was I've never in all my years of going to Bournemouth seen us set up with 5 at the back and 2 holding midfielders. It's just not the Bournemouth way. My old boss is an Arsenal season ticket holder, and he was down at the game in the Arsenal end, not like the guy that was fighting. He wasn't the guy that was fighting in the south end. He was in the Arsenal end, and it was quite sad actually. He said to me afterwards, because he's been 4 times I think to Bournemouth, and he said I don't like coming to Bournemouth. He said because you've got a tight pitch, the crowd on the pitch, our players aren't used to that. He said you always have a real go at us. He said and it always feels, and you think back to the 3-0 and when we beat them 2-1 and stuff. And he said this just didn't look like a Bournemouth side to me. He said you were just full of fear. And I think that's the bit that the fans can sense. I mean, Parker has been talking the squad down, isn't he, saying they're not good enough, we're not good enough to compete, we need signings. Then he's setting up with a side that the players must look at that and think we're beaten before we go out. If you're playing like that at home, the message is you're not good enough, lads, so I'm going to have to pack the team with defenders. I just think he's got to think, we're here, let's have a right good go at it. There's not one Bournemouth fan that would mind if he had a right good go at it and we went down on the last day of the season. None of us would. We don't expect anything else. Yeah.
No, and I saw a bit like what Neil was saying with the guy he knows. I saw, I can't remember what it was, I think it was on Twitter, but I saw like an Arsenal fan, and it was before the game. They were talking about it and going, we should win this game, etc., etc. And they were going, but let's not expect, just because they're a team that expect down the bottom, they're not like a Burnley and teams like that. And then after the game, because they're obviously thinking of previous Bournemouth, and after the game they went, they are a bit like that. Yeah. Because that's what the switch now is. A lot of teams in the Premier League are expecting us what we were previously and think Bournemouth will leave gaps, but they'll have a go. And after a few games, go, they don't do that anymore. They're more of a
very different side.
Very, very different.
Playing for throw-ins really now towards the end, weren't we?
Yeah. It amazed me the Man City game when we got a throw-in in 25 minutes into the half, like Lloyd Kelly launching it into the box. I mean, that sort of shows what we're doing against teams like that, and that happened again against Arsenal as well.
Yeah, we're trying to do it, and flick-ons from Kiefer and Meps, people like that.
You know what, Neil? You've got something in common with Scott Parker.
Have I really?
Quality apparel.
Gymshark.
And I don't know, that 4-stripe thing that he seems to be persevering with. Like, we worked out that's about 1,600 quid.
As I say, it's 1,500 quid, isn't it?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is like half a Wing Commander, isn't it?
Yeah. What would be your, if you were a manager
Yeah.
Like, would you be Eddie Howe training tracksuit or like t-shirt, or would you be going full suit or what?
I think I'd be more pep. I think I'd be more a bit of chinos, some decent trainers, and a round neck jumper.
Yeah.
I'm Neil in. Oh, I'll get him in for that alone. Yeah. You've never asked me that before. When Neil turns up, you ask him what attire he'd wear. Never once have you asked me, what would you wear if you were a manager, Tom?
Well, what would you wear?
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You don't want to know. Suit.
There were times when Eddie, obviously he wore full training kit, but quite often he'd have a t-shirt on and then a jacket on top, so he'd be showing double AFC Bournemouth badges, which was for me a bit too much.
Parker was wearing the cardigan in that heat at Man City. I couldn't believe it. Was baking.
I can see Tom like Tony Pulis in a cap.
Oh yeah, the old cap. I do wear a baseball cap now and again. Yeah,
I can see that.
Get it up and.
So based on the Newcastle Man City game on Sunday, do you know? I mean, obviously, the three of the first 4 matches this season we're almost writing off. Do we write off Newcastle away now in September, because they're doing all right under Eddie, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing all right, but they drew a Brighton, didn't they, the week before, who have also started well, to be fair. But it looked like I watched the game. It just looked like it's typical Eddie Howe. They have got better players than us, Newcastle. Newcastle, and he's moulded them because he come in last season. He's got like that group. He hasn't gone mad with change. I knew he wouldn't, even though they had the back in. I thought he'll just add little bits and bobs. But yeah, just very front foot, very brave. And yeah, if they had got picked off last minute, he'd have been called naive like he was for Bournemouth. But yeah, they're just buying into what he does. It's typical Eddie Howe.
Simon Jordan's got 2 scripts, hasn't he, on TalkSport, and he's just
naive or brave.
Yeah.
Naive or brave. Yeah.
I don't think you can write them off. Write off a win at Newcastle. I think they'll be top 10 this year though. So if you think about it, what most managers aim to do is beat the bottom 10 at home and draw with the bottom 10 away, and that's your 40 points. Yeah. And I think that's what everyone will have a chart. I'm sure Scott Parker won't be any different, and he'll be tracking that chart. And at the moment, we'll be on course because Villa will be bottom 10. Yeah. We've beaten them at home. Arsenal and Liverpool will be, Man City will be nowhere near the bottom 10, obviously. So I think we're on course at the moment. And Newcastle, I think, will be top 10. I think Scott Parker will have them as top 10. So that'll be a 0-point game for him. Wolves at home is a 3-point game, and I think that's the way to tackle it. And obviously, as the season breaks down, it's not as linear as that. Yeah. You'll get points against some of the top teams, and you'll lose against some of the bottom teams. But ultimately, they'll all have a tracker that keeps them on that line. What
are you going to feel when you see Eddie Howe back at Dean Court? Is it going to feel weird? Because I don't know if I'm going to be. I think I'm going to be quite emotional. I don't know. Cause we never got to say goodbye.
No. It'll be really, really emotional, I think.
Yeah, I think it
I mean, obviously, it's not coming up till when we
ain't got them. Is it February we got home?
Yeah, we got home in February, but obviously September the
17th. Oh, I don't know.
Away.
Yeah, the away game. But
the away game will be a little bit different because, I mean, Dean Court was his home for so many years, and he built the entire club. We wouldn't have had a fourth stand, would we, if it wasn't for him? So the whole ground and everything in it, is down to him, and he stood there that many times. I think, however emotional it is for him, for us, it'll be worse for him. I think he'll find it really difficult.
Even though he plays it cool.
He's not set foot in the ground since he left.
No.
And we had a couple of them recently. Obviously, nothing to the Eddie Howe extreme, but that was the only thing in the last 2 games. Thought nice touch from Ake, he come over, didn't he? And we gave him a good reception. And then Rambo, at the weekend. So yeah, it's weird. We've got. It seems like we've had a few of them at the moment. Ings didn't quite get the same, did he? Bless him. But yeah, it will be weird when we eventually play them. But yeah.
Dan Juma, I didn't get to say. I mean, I didn't go to any of the matches over lockdown. I know you went to.
Oh, the ones that look like on the ballot and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I never saw Jonathan Woodgate as manager.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah, I only saw that one game.
It's almost like he's never played for us. I did see Dan Juma obviously play Watford away and Spurs. I think he came on in the 3-2 loss, but yeah, a few like that. It is going to be weird, but.
Yeah, but I think most Bournemouth fans now, their second team in the Premier League, they keep an eye on, you see how Newcastle get on there, and you want to see them do well. And Callum doing well as well, it's great to see.
And we'll have all the different reactions, because we'll have Callum Wilson, obviously we'll get a hero's reaction. Eddie Howe, I'm sure the fans will sing his name, which will be awkward for Scott Parker, but they'll sing his name.
Matt Ritchie might be on the bench, he was on the bench.
Matt Ritchie nearly came on today, didn't he, and then had to sit back down again. So if he'll get, as he's warming up, he'll get a fantastic rep. And then you've got Ryan Fraser, who literally would be scared to come out the dugout, because he'll just get pelters as he goes up and down the line.
I'm convinced he won't be on the bench. I'm convinced Eddie won't. I'm convinced Eddie won't do it because he's not that crucial to him anyway.
But we're in our own bubble in terms of AFC Bournemouth, and the sound that we make about Ryan Fraser is very much amplified when we're in our own bubble. But other than that, I don't think anyone else even realises. I mean, Ryan Fraser's probably got a grasp of what's happening, but do you think...
Simon Jordan talks about it a lot.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
He mentioned
Always talks about it on TalkSport.
Yeah.
But he uses it as an example of poor behaviour from modern football on more than one occasion he has.
Yeah, he didn't. I can't remember what. Yeah, he used some like weasel kind of remarks to Ryan Fraser. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But long way to go before then, I suppose.
Yeah, long way to go before then. So the games we're targeting then, forget Liverpool, maybe Wolves though. But then against Spurs in the lunchtime game on Saturday, they looked all right.
Yeah, they did look good.
I mean, the Premier League is a hard league.
It's so much harder than last time we were in it.
Yeah.
If you think about last time we came up and you looked at play like Sunderland, and there was Villa without money, pre-money. There was in the second year there was Newcastle without money, Stoke, Swansea, who were pants, weren't they? West Brom, who were pants. Yeah, and none of those were the sides we came up with. So the sides we came up with as well, they were Norwich and Watford. So you looked at it and you thought there were easily 4 or 5 teams that we would finish above. Now you look at it. And I can't put my hand on my heart, which is why a lot of pundits have tipped us to go down. I can't see who those teams are because everyone seems so much better. Yeah. So Leeds were 4th bottom last year. So really, if you come up, you're thinking we've got Fulham and Forest and Leeds are the 3 teams that should be. Yeah. But you look at Leeds today and you think, well, we're not going to be anywhere near them.
Well,
they had lost the game now.
I know it's early days, but the league table just looks weird.
Yeah, it does at the moment, yeah. But I think we're hoping to. There's always one that kind of gets dragged in, and we're hoping. I mean,
Leicester.
Leicester are probably the ones at the moment, and then
you're thinking Brentford initially.
Yeah, only because they lost Ericsson. I thought they might really, but they've seemed to have done all right.
I thought
Southampton try, and you hope that Everton, you might. But I just always feel with teams like Everton, probably similar to Leeds, that home form will be enough for them. Yeah. But yeah, you're trying to just drag teams in, aren't you? And then you see Forest just splash in the cash, so you think, well, they might have too much now. And Fulham haven't started badly, so I totally understand why we're the favourites.
What Forest have done is unbelievable. I mean, how can you spend 16 players? But they look like they're gelling. We'll learn an awful lot about us and them in a couple of weeks' time.
Probably when we play them.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that game. So it's only a week and a half away, isn't it? 2 weeks away.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that'll tell us an awful lot. We should be able to go there and go at them.
That's a nice city for an away game, isn't it?
I love best city. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Nottingham away. Yeah, for a few reasons.
But no, I'll tell you what, we went to Ye Old Jerusalem
nice.
And then the Canal House, which was a mixed pub. But that was really nice. And then a 15-minute walk or so to the stadium. I'll tell you what, I really liked it.
Then you made me go in Hooters after. I didn't want to go, but you said we got to go in there, so we went in there.
Made him.
Get dragged in.
Yeah,
Ye Old Jerusalem's about one of 38 pubs that claims to be the oldest pub in Britain.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I think I've been in about 11 oldest pubs in Britain.
I think like the Royal Oak in Winchester's one of them that says that.
There's one in Devon as well. It's just that everywhere you go, there's an oldest pub in Britain. But
I'd love to know.
That's why he's safest in Hooters.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
He's not telling any lies.
No lies
It's not the oldest pub in Britain.
You know what you're getting from Hooters.
Now remember, on the second look, of course, it's a chance for you to have your say. So if you want to send in your videos, you can. Check the description below, which shows you how to do it. But we had this video submitted by Filippo from Italy.
That was even worse than the Man City game because we didn't have the time to mentally get in the game. As Martin Odegaard was at the double after 10 minutes, and at that point we can say that Arsenal already got the 3 points in the bag. These are the games we got promoted for. We got promoted to play also the top teams of the Premier League, and we are expected to lose. But if we can snatch some points from them, that would be absolutely great. And we go at Anfield, but first on Tuesday we got Norwich away in the Carabao Cup, and let's try to get the revenge of that 6-0 defeat from last year, and let's just get behind the team up the Premier Cherries.
Brilliant from Filippo, and check the description, have your say. We will be having the free-for-alls online back soon. We're going to do it fairly regularly so everyone around the world can have their say. So, look, mate, let's just say that we're going to get 0 points at Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm not saying it, but yeah, fair enough.
You know, analyse the start of the season. 3 points from 12 to be expected, but what do you want to see? A bit more attacking impetus, maybe.
Maybe. I think I always, as we spoke about, always expected for them to not get anything, and it was that Villa game was massive, and we got the win. So, as Neil said earlier, we're probably a little bit better than I probably expected. It's then what I want to see is that Wolves game. Then I think it's Forest. Then I think we've got Brighton, Newcastle. Them sort of games. Right, let's see.
It's a good run of fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too bad, which is always going to happen after the start we had. So let's see if we're a bit more expansive, or at least if we get a little bit more used to the system. We make it, we don't make it look like a system that's just literally sit back and soak it up. We actually, try and, threaten the other end. So yeah, let's see what happens. But I think we always looked at this kind of bulk of games and thought, right, Villa and Wolves, the sandwich in the middle is a nightmare. But if we can compete in them two, then we'll be happy. So hopefully, but I think that Wolves game is going to be a big one.
Can't wait for that. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Tom, excellent as always. Neil, great to have you back.
Great to be back. I'll be back in a year.
Yeah, he'll make his annual appearance. And look, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. We'd truly appreciate it. Or if you've been listening on the audio pod, make sure you share it on your socials so other people are aware of it. Thanks so much for watching and listening. This has been Back of the Net. We'll see you in the next one. Love the cherries.
Cheers.